Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today I've got a quicker GT review for you. So this is a GT that just happened. It is Sunday night right now. The tournament finished a few hours ago. I got home, ran my errands, and I'm recording it now so I can get out to you guys Monday, and then it's vacation, and I won't have to think about it. But Tyranids went to a GT, and we had fun. We had some good wins in there, some close losses, but we're going to talk about my lovely assimilations formulas that can be just a beauty to play. So we'll get into the list. I'll show you the details, tell you how the games went, and if there are things I would change going forward into different iterations of the list. Ooh, I'm tired. So if that sounds good, do like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our content here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios. We try to put a good emphasis on Tyranid specific content, so that is why I do my Tyranid tournament reviews here. As well, thank you to all of you members. Means a lot. You guys allow me to keep doing this stuff, focus on the Tyranids, and put out great content for you. So with all that, let's dive into today's video. One more thing to mention before we get into this. Going on right now, this video isn't technically sponsored, but Into the AM, where is it? There it is, has a sale going on right now. I believe it's like a 30% off sale for 4th of July. Get an extra 10% off when you use my link in the description down below, code MGS10. Just gonna click that little plug there. But into the video. So this was it was called the Built Forge Tough tournament. The local game shop that we have and go to is called The Forge. So there you go. It was a 40-player GT, though I think somebody dropped part way through. So 39 players. Just a nice, quick, low-key tournament. Not like super competitive. Obviously, people were playing some nasty lists, and some people were playing casual. But we're just, get a good group of guys together and try out Pariah Nexus. My list was Assimilation Swarm. Now, if you saw my list video from Friday, then you'll know this list, but I will give you the rundown again, because I think technically when I typed that list, I had changed some things, and so the list is a little bit different, but here is the official list for you guys. In the characters, we have the Neuro Tyrant with Biophagic Flow. The goal of this is to just kind of sit in the middle, so I can use that 12-inch aura essentially to trigger longer range healings. Try to get in a place where I can tag my home objective and 2 no man's land objectives, or at least models on there with it. And she just chills there the whole time, maybe uses her flamer here or there. We have a Hive Tyrant with Instinctive Defense. Very nice, very, very nice enhancement. Probably one of the best enhancements in the Tyranid Codex. So I love putting that one on a Hive Tyrant because he's good in melee. And the Tyrant Guard that are with him. We had Swarm Lord. Now, Swarm Lord is an absolute madman now. Being able to use that and have that Lord of Deceit aura is just bonkers with a very durable with Tyrant Guard melee unit that wants to be up in the middle of the board. It's nasty. It's a really, really nasty combo. I hope they don't bump Swarmlord's points come later, because to the right armies, he is like borderline, I don't want to say he's overpowered, but to the right armies, he seems like the most overpowered thing in the game, one of them. But to other armies, they don't really care. So I'll talk more about him later, but yes, Swarmlord with Guard, fantastic. And then we had a Winged Prime with the Parasitic Biomorphology. She led some melee warriors, give them strength 7 with all their good stuff. A nice counterpunch melee unit to have. In the battle line, 10 Hormagaunts. Couldn't fit in Gargoyles, but the 10 Hormagaunts did play a part in pretty much every single game, whether it was scoring me secondary points, or screening out my opponent, or snagging random objectives, whatever the case is. Hormagaunts, for what they were, they did a decent part. Into the other data sheets, we had a Biovore, because they're still good, especially in Assimilation. We had 2 Psychophages, We had 1 unit of 3 Pyrovores, 2 units of 1 Pyrovore. We had a unit of 3 Raveners. We had a block of 6 Melee Warriors, like I said, 2 blocks of 6 Tyrant Guard. Now for the loadout on these guys, I ended up going with 3 Crushing Claws and 3 Scything Talons in each squad. It's tough to say. I'm leaning towards, after playing 5 games with these units, I'm leaning towards just going all Rending Claws, Scything Talon Rending Claws. The Crushing Claws are fine, but the fact that they're only 2 attacks and they hit worse, yes, they do punch the Marine bodies a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it again. For sure, if you're using a Neuro Tyrant with them, then take the Crushing Claws. They'll hit on 3s. But I would maybe lean towards the Scything Talon Rending Claws in most cases. Just all of them that. And then we have 3 Venomthropes and a Tyrannofex. So that is the list. It's not supposed to be a super aggressive list. It really is one that just gets to those middle objectives and just holds. It really doesn't want to overextend itself. It just wants to sit there, hold, farm up primary, keep healing on those objectives, and score enough in secondary between the Biovore, the Hormigons, the Venomthropes are actually not bad in secondaries, the Raveners, and just do that to score me secondary point. So, the games. This was a gauntlet of a match. All of them were gauntlets. It was, let me just get into them. So the first game was the only one, sorry Steve, that was easy for me. And it was just a bad matchup for it. So it was Grey Knights, and he had a Terminator/Paladin heavy list. So no Dread Knights, which is one thing this army will struggle against, but 30 of the Terminator/Paladin bodies, all of them had characters, Brother Captains, Grandmasters, Drago, no Librarians though, and then a big squad of Strikes with the Fight First Brother Champion. It's just not a great matchup for Grey Knights if they don't have any of those heavy side cannons. I got turn 1 and I just flooded the mid board with it, and I didn't give it up. He killed a lot of Tyrant Guard. I mean, he fought and he shot. He killed 10 of the 12 Tyrant Guard. However, at the end of the game, because of all the healing shenanigans, there were still 10 Tyrant Guard left. So it was just tough for him. Tabled him at the end of my turn 5. He went second, so didn't really have a turn 5. Yeah, it really just, he didn't have the firepower to handle Tyrant Guard. Maybe he could have focus fired a little bit better, but I did a good job of making sure that he could only hit so much with one squad at a time. Yeah, so good game there. Then we went into Dark Angels, and this was a very similar play style, but a much scarier list. The new Deathwing with their buffs they got is a insanely disgusting army to play against. So he had 15 Deathwing Knights, a unit of the Inner Circle companion dudes with a character, I will not remember which one it is, not Ezekiel, not Belial, but a character in there accompanying them. He had a Redeemer. Oh, and this was the Gladius Strike Force, so not the Deathwing specific, but Gladius Strike Force, so an amazing detachment rules. He had a unit of Eradicators with the Biologist guy who gives them the Doctrine thing, so they have their lethals and sustained or whatever on 5s. Inside of a Land Raider Redeemer. And then he just had like scouts and a few tactical or assault marines just to do the secondaries and stuff. Deathwing Knights are so flipping disgusting. Toughness 5, 4 wounds, -1 damage, 2 up, 4 up is a insane combo. I mean, yes, there are a lot of points. They're like 200 points or 220 points for 5 of them. But my God, that has got to be one of the hardest things to deal with in the entire game. 5 of those guys, at least in melee. Some things went well in this game. The Tyrannofex did his job. Took him 2 turns, but he dropped the Land Raider. Unfortunately, the Eradicators eventually got him down, but it took him a while to deal with it. This mission was also Purge the Foe, which is basically an easy one for anyone to beat Tyranids at, because Tyranids just give up so many kill points because we have a lot of small units, unless you're playing Crusher or something, but we typically have a lot of units that just die, like Spore Mines just die, and our little squads just die. I believe he got kill more every single turn 2 through 5, so that was a 16 points right there, and that was not the whole difference of the game, but that was a big chunk of the difference there. And then a few hold mores he got as well, but really there was a few tactical errors I had in my part. Didn't screen out as well. He got some really good charges off. It's just a tough list to deal with. I will say though, this player, Alex, congrats, he won the whole tournament. So I don't feel horrible by keeping it semi-close. I mean, I say semi-close. Yes, the score was a big difference. I did kill most of his stuff. At the end of the game, he had the Biologists left. He had a few Tactical Marines. He had, 2 Deathwing Knights and the Impulsor, and then a few Scouts. So I killed a lot of his stuff, but it was just a foot slog, and they do nasty things to Tyrant Guard with a Tyrant because of the monster keyword. So that's that game. Still a good game, but nasty to deal with. Then we got to game 3. This game, the score was close, but the game was not close at all. Somehow I kept it close. Really, the main reason I kept it close was a beautiful Shadows turn. Basically turned off primary for him for a full turn. Would have been a big turn for him, and it allowed me to maintain points on secondaries or something. His list was 6 Dread Knights, 3 Grandmasters, 3 regular, 3 Librarians, one of them in a 5-man Terminator squad, and then 5 Strike Marines. That was it. I played a little too aggressive with my Hive Tyrant and his Tyrant Guard unit. However, Dread Knights and all of their deep striking, moving, picking up, all those shenanigans, it's hard for my army to deal with it because I'm not that fast. It's hard for me to catch Dread Knights with their advance and charge, their advance and shoot, fallback, shoot and charge, all those things. I need to get a long charge, hit a Dread Knight and kill it, and then I need to survive all the shooting and do it again. It's just tough. So I played a little aggressive knowing that. I could have played more defensively. I think the outcome would have been very similar. But yeah, it was close. Dread Knights are so good into this detachment with those side cannons now. The big thing that was a stinker, my Tyrannofex opened up turn 1 volley. He made both of his 4-pin bones and just, I could have killed one of the Dread Knights right off the bat. He didn't. And then he deep struck. He alpha struck all of his Librarians and kept all of his Dread Knights. His goal was to kill Tyrannofex and Hive Tyrant squad. And 2 Librarians. It only took 2 Librarians to kill a Tyrannofex. Both of them, so there were 3 of them. One of them, who happened to be with the Terminator squad, rolled a 1 on his Vortex of Doom. Unfortunately, he made most of his not inbones, but saves against mortals because they were psychic weapons. So a wound happened or something. But then the other 2 Librarians both rolled 6s on their Vortex of Dooms, which is 2d6 mortals each. And then one of them got a dev wound in with its bolter and hit wound. I failed my save with its smite thing, which is another 3 damage, and Tyrannofex was dead. That was it. I had 6 up feeling the pain. Didn't help. I didn't even blank the 1 because I didn't think it would get to it. I was thinking I would save it for a hammer swing or something, or just a later damage 3. But yeah, killed the Tyrannofex outright, which allowed 5 of the 6 Dread Knights to focus fire into my Hive Tyrant and the Tyrant Guard. Now, admittedly, with all of my defensive bulk and everything, it did take all 5 Dreadnoughts down to the very last shot to kill 6 Tyrant Guards. So they held on for a long time. Had I just rolled a little bit better, 1 extra save, or he just rolled a little worse, and 1 Tyrant Guard stayed alive, maybe it could have been a different game, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. And that happened, and then it proceeded to just happen into Swarmlord's unit. Swarmlord made it into combat along with the melee warriors. Swarmlord did nothing to a Dreadnought. He rolled 5 ones on his hits, and then the ones that wounded, he saved, and then the Dreadnought went back and just bonk, killed everything. So somehow I kept it close, but it was not, it was just a case of him shooting gallery. I think I killed 3 models the whole game, and he wiped basically my entire thing off the board by the end of it. So to be honest, not the most fun game, but I kept it close. And then we had game 4 against Tau. Now at this point I was 1-2, but I got matched in someone who was 2-1, so that was an uphill battle to begin with. This was a retaliation cadre, so from what I can tell, maybe not the most competitive detachment, but still a scary list of suits here. He had 3 Riptides, 3 different units of battle suits, each one with a character. He had his Ghost Keel, Pathfinders for screening, 3 units of stealth suits for the fancy reroll ones, and Kroot Hounds. So it was a close game. The mission was Linchpin, which allowed me to, probably the reason it was Linchpin was the reason I won it. Dawn War deployment. His turn 1 shooting was disgusting. I say it was disgusting, but at the same time, it wasn't scary. It took again, like the Grey Knight one, it took every single bullet to kill 6 Tyrant Guard. Everything that could shoot at it. Now he only used 1 unit of battle suits because another one was off the table, another one was in a different quarter. So it took, all 3 Riptides, the Ghost Keel, and 3 of the battle suits with a commander to kill all 6 Tyrant Guard. I was rolling pretty hot on my 6-up Feel No Pain to at least make his damage 4 weapons or his damage 2 weapons take a lot longer to chew through. So I was really well, but he did kill all of them, which is unfortunate. Again, if I just had 1 more, it was the last 6-up to keep him alive. Had I made that, would have been probably a less close game because I was able to just start bringing back Tyrant Guard because they were already on the middle objective. I went first. Luckily for me, his turn 2 shooting was pitiful. It took that same amount of firepower plus another unit of crisis suits to kill just the Hive Tyrant, really. The Hive Tyrant just was an absolute boss holding on to it. He tried killing the Pyrovores, and I think he killed 1 between the 4-up Feel No Pain and the stealth and cover and all that, though he ignored a lot of the cover, and then I just brought it right back eventually. So not a good turn 2 shooting. Luckily for him, my turn 2, I failed every single charge except for 1. So, well, no, I failed every single charge, so that wasn't good. So it was both, we had a bad turn 2. Turn 3, though, I started making my charges. Swarmlord was in his home field objective by then, slicing through Riptides and killing stealth suits and stuff. The Pyrovores were probably a massive MVP there. I think not only did they just pick up Pathfinders left and right, but they killed, I think it was 4 or 5 crisis suits between shooting and Overwatch multiple times throughout the game. And they were just absolute tanks using that 4-up Feel No Pain. Now with the Hive Tyrant nearby, it was only 1 CP. So they were just absolute bricks, and then providing healing to the outwards there. Swarmlord, again, I say he probably won that because getting onto that home objective denies a ton of primary points in Linchpin. So that was at least 2 turns where he went from potentially scoring 8 points to only scoring 3 points, which, again, looking at the score, was pretty much the reason there. Tyrannofex had a hard time. He hit and wounded A-OK, but he was shooting Riptides left and right, and they all had 4-up inbones, and he only, throughout the whole game, failed 1 out of 8 4-up inbones, or maybe it was 6 out of 7 4-up end bones or something. It was a nice chunky 10 damage, but the 4-up end bones are tough for Tyrannofexes. So he had a hard time that game, as he did the last game, as he did the game before, because there's nothing to shoot at. So far not so great for the Tyrannofex, but he's still a threat that you have to respect. We only got to through turn 4 in this, which is why the score is a little bit lower. But we kind of did a sort of play out of how the last turn would do if he played secret mission, which he did technically declare. And even if he got the secret mission, it was still going to be a win for me, about the same score, because the points I would have picked up in my last turn for primary would have basically erased his secret mission bonus anyway. So that was game 4. It was an absolute slugfest, just taking beating left and right. But we did get a nice win there. And then finally, game 5 was against World Eaters. Now, at first I was like, shoot World Eaters, because they are a nasty good army right now. But my army is actually very well equipped to handle World Eaters. I'm not saying it's easy, but my army is equipped well to do it. The fight first on the Hive Tyrant is fantastic, and the 6-up Feel No Pain is great because they have a lot of damage to weapons, so that really makes it tough for them to chew through Tyrant Guard. On top of that, Angron has to be careful moving up the board because the Tyrannofex is really looking to just chunk wounds off of him. And Swarmlord's Lord of Deceit. World Eaters are in your face. They're using all of their strats in your face, with Swarmy being up in the front line. All of those strats costing 1 extra CP is disgusting. Like, he was paying 2 CP for a reroll because it was really important he did it. He was paying 3 CP for -1 damage. I don't know what the other ones were that he used. 2 CP for Heroic Intervention or something like that. But yeah, it's tough for World Eaters with that big Lord of Deceit. So his list was 15 Exalted 8-bound, 2 units of 6 and a unit of 3, a unit of 3 regular 8-bound, Angron, 2 units of Spawn, and 2 Forge Fiends, which, you know, I didn't respect them, and one of my units saw sad times because of that, but it is what it is. Like I said, this is actually an army I wanted to face because I did match up well into it. The biggest thing that swung the whole game for sure, we don't know for sure if it would have allowed him to win the game, but it definitely would have changed the course of the game, is Angron failed a re-rolling 6-inch charge. He rolled 2 5s or a 5 and a 4 or something. That would have put him in contact with Swarmy's unit and a couple other things. Unfortunately, he failed it. He really should have had it, but he didn't. So that sucked because he failed it. Tyrannofex finally, I should mention before I talk about what the Tyrannofex did to Angron, that Tyrannofex open fired on 2 Spawn. I thought, you know what, 2 Spawn, I don't have to move, 2s and 2s. He has a 4-up Feel No Pain. I should probably be able to pop these 2 Spawn. No, I failed. I only wounded with 1, and I rolled damage 8, and he made 5 4-up Feel No Pains, and the Spawn lived, and then it healed, and the Spawn just kept on surviving. So that sucked. Eventually we killed him, which was good, but that sucked. So it was up until that point, or through that point, I was like, this Tyrannofex has done nothing really all game. Then Angron failed his charge, sitting right on the open. Mr. Tyrannofex said hello and launched his Rupture Cannon into him. 2 hits, 2 wounds. Angron only made 1 of his invones. Did not have the CP because it cost 2 to re-roll it. And I rolled a 6 on my damage. So it was 12 damage, did 10 wounds to him. He had already taken some other damage from random shooting. I overwatched him and brought 3 more wounds off of him. So he had 1 wound left. He did get into the lines and really mess stuff up. Psychophage, he killed my Winged Prime. He brought the Psychophage down to a wound. He butchered like 5 Tyrant Guard. But we did get him. It would have been nice if he just didn't didn't survive the Pyrovore Overwatch, but that was the way it happened. The Pyrovores, again, they slapped. Overwatched and killed Lord Invocatus. They overwatched and did decent damage to this guy, Angron. They tanked a ton of shots, so my opponent basically just gave up and said it's not worth shooting them, allowing them to be there and just healing things. And Swarmlord and the Fight First Tyrant just slapped. So the Fight First Tyrant, his 8-bound hit me. I got to butcher half of them before they even got to swing. He was rolling really hot on the 5-up Invones and the 5-up Feel No Pains. So he still, I would have liked to kill more, but did that. Swarmlord again, just being that absolute nuisance with Lord of Deceit. And then the whole being able to get that extra CP, use stratagems like crazy. He was able to do good work with his unit as well. Again, it's really punishing for the melee armies. This build is good into melee. Unfortunately, it's a shooting edition, so it's not always the best. Again, we played it only through turn 4. I don't know. We got a little bit of a slower start on this one, even with World Leaders, and I think he took a little bit longer, but that's okay. My turns are pretty quick. I just kind of sit there and I throw some dice in melee, shoot a couple flamers, and that's it. We played it out, or we kind of just mathed it out to see what would happen in turn 5. And again, just like the last game, it would have pretty much been the same thing. I would have picked up another like 15 points. He would have picked up another like 10 or 12 points, and it still wouldn't have been enough to win, so we didn't bother doing it. That's just pretty much how the game went. And it was a good win for the Bugs. I was really happy to pull that one out. Yes, I know this failing the 6-inch charge was huge, but still, I did what I could there. So 3-2 was the final record. We got 10 out of 40 players, or maybe it was 39. I'll say it's 40, because 40 signed up initially. So the top 25% or the top 10, I'll take it for being 3-2 and having to play 3 people who matched up a higher win rate than me. So I don't think I mentioned this, but turn 3, I had to play against. So game 3 I had to play against someone. I was 1-1, and they were 2-0. This game I was 1-2, or the game 4 I was 1-2, and they were 2-1. And this game I was 2-2, and they were 3-1. So a little uphill gauntlet that this game. And then game 2 I played the guy who won it all. So a really tough uphill battle in the overall matchup of the tournament, but I will take it. It'll be a good one. So now, just a little bit about my list. I know I've already kind of ranted for a while here, but maybe you just breeze through it. So review the list. I absolutely love it. I love this list. The only thing that I'm considering doing is changing the melee warriors, because in my game, all of my games, they did nothing. Except for game 1, they butchered 5 paladins. But other than that, they just got shot or beaten into melee. They're a little too slow, even with the Wing Prime shenanigans. And their footprint of the unit is so big, with this army already having such massive footprints. I feel like I need to swap them out and put something like Gene Stealers in the list. Maybe, or I put extra score. I feel like I need an extra melee threat besides the 2 Tyrant Guards. So maybe I do Gene Stealers. I could put them with, again, I don't know if I can do Parasitic Biomorphology. Maybe. There's thoughts of putting the Fight First on Gene Stealers, which I think is very good, but I love so much having Fight First with the Hive Tyrant. It's so fun. So I'll play around with it. Otherwise, I love the list. It felt so good. Really, really good to be doing the shenanigans that I was pulling off. All the healing stuff. The Feel No Pain aura psychophages are awesome. But yeah, double Tyrants felt so cool. So that is the list. And then I'll do a little bit more recap. Dark Angels are disgusting. The Deathwing Knights and the Inner Circle guys need a little, maybe not the Deathwing Knights, but the Inner Circle guys need a little bit of point bump. The Deathwing Knights, I could see them just going up another 5 or 10 points. They just are so durable. So durable. Just a pain. So that's it. Dread Knights, I think Dread Knights need more points increases. They're good. They're just, yes, they can be countered easily. They can lose the shooting matchup, but into a melee army, those Dread Knights are just disgusting. So those are my salty things there. But again, I love the Assimilation Swarm. It's not a perfect list, but it's got so much potential if you can learn to play that kind of finesse movement where it is a lot of manipulating auras and manipulating where models are placed and picked and consolidated and all of that. And if you like that stuff, Assimilation Swarm is really fun. If you would rather just do damage or swarm the board or something, probably just go with an invasion fleet style list. This one is really for the weirdos like me who like some kind of more finesse to it. We'll do more lists in the future. Our local area is looking to just push RTTs out like crazy, so I'm going to try all sorts of different lists when those start popping up. And then we have our North Star Open in August. It'll be pretty competitive. See the people there. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup all the games are going to be tough knowing who's there. So I need a competitive bug list. I mean, we're probably not going to go too weird like I normally do, but probably just a competitive invasion fleet list I will look into doing. So that's what I've got. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching. Again, check out Into the AM. Use my code MGS10. It helps me. It helps you guys get a nice shirt. They get a sale. Win, win, win. That's all I got. No event or no videos probably for a little while because of the holidays. And the next video you probably will see, or at least the next battle report you see, will be me using this list against Matt's Death Guard. It was my trial run list before the tournament. So you'll get to see this list in action at least once on the channel. So that's what I got. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.